This deep dive is provided by Thomas Allgeier and Frennis, based on the most relevant LinkedIn posts about channel marketing in calendar weeks 9 and 10. Frennis is a B2B market research partner helping enterprises translate market, customer, and competitive insights into actionable strategies that drive growth and success across their channel and partner ecosystems.
Which, honestly perfectly tees up our mission for today.
Yeah, it really does.
We are pulling apart the top channel marketing trends that have surfaced across LinkedIn over the last 2 weeks, and we're seeing this fundamental restructuring of how companies actually go to market together.
Right, and if you're a B2B marketing professional listening to this, you already know the ground is shifting under your feet right now.
Oh, absolutely.
So the goal for this deep dive is to, extract the most crucial, actionable insights from the smartest folks operating in this space. We're filtering out all that noise so you can take these specific mechanics and apply them directly to your own go-to-market strategies.
Without feeling totally overwhelmed, which is the key.
Exactly. So we've taken the insights from calendar weeks 9 and 10 and broken them down into 4 core themes. And the first major shift we're seeing is that ecosystem thinking is actively replacing traditional channel models.
Yeah.
We're moving away from those linear, top-down reseller structures toward genuine ecosystem value creation.
Right. And it requires a completely different operational mindset. Pablo Hano actually laid this out recently, breaking down the structural differences between managing a traditional distribution channel and, orchestrating a true ecosystem.
Because they're not the same thing.
Not at all. In a traditional channel, the flow is super linear. It's vendor to distributor to reseller to end customer, just a straight line of transaction.
Right.
But an ecosystem model is a network. It's about multiple partners converging around a single customer's problem to create this joint value that, honestly, none of them could deliver in isolation.
Which sounds amazing in theory. But when you look at how most companies actually manage their partners, they're still totally stuck in that linear mindset. Kyle E. had a really fascinating critique of this.
Oh, the digital graveyards post.
Yes. He mentioned that companies will list 200 partners on a portal, put out a press release, and proudly declare they have an ecosystem. But he called those portals digital graveyards.
It's so accurate because the issue is what those portals are built to optimize. Kyle pointed out that traditional partner portals optimize for administration.
Right, just paperwork.
Exactly. They're built to store static PDF battle cards, process deal registrations, maybe manage compliance documents. But a true ecosystem needs to optimize for velocity and joint value creation.
Yeah.
When you build a system just to manage paperwork, you don't get collaboration. You just get a database of companies you occasionally email.
And Raul Zach highlighted the harsh reality of that setup. He said, look, if you have 150 signed partner agreements, but only 12 of them are actively generating revenue or pipeline.
You don't have an ecosystem.
Right. You just have a contact list with legal agreements attached.
That is a terrifying metric for a partner marketing leader to look at. 138 dormant partners means a massive amount of wasted onboarding resources.
Huge waste. So if the traditional portal and the standard partner structures are broken, what replaces them? Because we can't just delete the portal and hope for the best.
No, we have to completely restructure the incentives and the tiering. Chad Kaiser presented this radical approach that just dismantles the traditional revenue-based tiering system. Historically, companies use gold, silver, and bronze tiers based entirely on how much revenue a partner brings in.
Which usually just results in partners chasing some arbitrary revenue number to keep their margins, instead of focusing on the customer.
Precisely. So Kaiser replaced that old model with motion-based tiers. He broke it into 3 distinct categories. Tier 1 is influence. These are the partners who shape the buying decisions and guide the strategy, even if they never process a single transaction.
Okay, wow.
Tier 2 is co-sell, where partners are in the room with your sales team, sharing accountability for the deal. And Tier 3 is resell, where the partner owns the customer relationship and the transaction entirely.
That makes so much more sense.
And Kaiser argued that each of these tiers requires a fundamentally different program, different enablement, and totally different marketing support. You can't just give the influence partners a watered-down version of your resell program.
I want to look at that from the B2B marketing perspective for a second, though, because tracking influence is notoriously difficult compared to just logging a reseller transaction. How should a marketing team actually evaluate a partner in that kind of model?
That's where Leela Kupal offered a great lens. She argues we need to stop evaluating partners solely by looking at a dashboard of past closed-won revenue.
Right.
Instead, we should classify them by how they expand your sales capacity right now. Are they helping your reps open net new enterprise accounts? Are they improving your win rates against a specific competitor?
Because revenue just shows they participated in the past.
Exactly. It doesn't prove they're expanding your true sales footprint in the market today.
Which means marketing has to step up and actually fund these ecosystem motions differently. Elena Zapp brought up a point here that I think every marketer listening needs to internalize. She noted that leadership funds what gets promoted.
Yes.
Think about a major product launch at a typical B2B company. Marketing throws massive budget at it. Dedicated landing pages, paid social, PR pushes, webinar series.
And what happens when they launch a new strategic partnership?
They get a logo added to the website footer, maybe one joint press release if they're lucky.
Yeah, it's wild.
Elena's point was that if marketing doesn't treat the partner ecosystem with the same measurement, visibility, and promotional weight as a core product line, the partner team is doomed. They'll spend half their year just trying to convince their own executive leadership that the channel actually works.
The ecosystem has to be treated as a primary growth engine, fully backed by marketing budget.
Absolutely. Which naturally brings us to our second theme for today. Co-sell becomes the central growth motion. We're moving from the high-level ecosystem structure down to the ground-level execution.
Right, where theory actually hits the pipeline. And this is specifically when we look at co-selling with hyperscalers. The massive cloud infrastructure providers like AWS, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud.
Co-selling is definitely the buzzword right now. But there's a huge gap between wanting to co-sell and actually executing a joint motion with a giant like AWS.
Huge gap.
Dhani Palihapitiya addressed this friction directly. She pointed out that co-selling completely fails without absolute top-down sponsorship.
From the very top.
Yeah. Why is that executive alignment so critical? Why can't a partner marketing team just run this quietly on their own?
Because co-selling requires changing the fundamental behavior of your direct sales team. If your CEO, your head of sales, and your head of marketing aren't entirely aligned on co-selling as a primary strategic priority, it just becomes a side project.
And the direct reps will ignore it.
Totally. They'll ignore it because it slows down their standard motion. Dhani stressed that your product has to be natively partner-ready, and your marketing narrative has to speak the partner's language, not just your own.
Let's talk about the enablement side of that narrative. If marketing creates this massive, comprehensive playbook for how to co-sell with Microsoft, do the reps actually use it?
Not if it's broad. Alexander J. Buckle shared a really sharp insight on why most co-sell enablement fails. Broad playbooks are ignored by account executives because they're too generic to apply to a live deal.
Right.
If you want a co-sell strategy to gain traction, your playbook needs to be hyper-narrow. He called it designing for a segment of one.
Segment of one. I love that.
Yeah. The enablement material should be written for one exact type of sales rep, targeting one exact buyer persona at one specific moment in the deal cycle.
But even with hyper-narrow playbooks and top-down support, building a co-sell engine seems incredibly slow. I hear companies launch a partnership, run it for a quarter, and then just pull the plug because it didn't generate immediate pipeline. How long does this actually take to work?
John Yu recently shared some compelling data on this exact timeline. He watches companies try co-selling, get 0 inbound leads for 3 months, and then publicly declare that the model is broken.
Which is crazy premature.
Totally. His data reveals that for top-performing ecosystem companies, co-sell takes 6 to 12 months of consistent grinding effort before the inbound returns actually start flowing.
6 to 12 months.
Yeah. It requires spending physical time at the partners' offices, educating their overlay teams, and deep account mapping.
That timeline is a massive insight for you B2B marketers listening right now. If it takes 6 to 12 months for a co-sell motion to yield inbound returns, marketing cannot expect immediate MQLs from a new partner launch. No. It means marketing's job is to build 12-month air cover campaigns to keep your brand top of mind within the partner's ecosystem, while the sales reps do all that grinding groundwork.
That is the exact strategic alignment required. And to shorten that painful initial learning curve, Murray Clark offered a brutal but brilliant piece of advice for companies struggling with their early AWS deals.
What did he say?
He noted that companies routinely underinvest in their first few opportunities by assigning their average sales reps to handle them.
Because they treat it like a trial run.
Right. But Clark's advice is to assign your absolute best, most lethal sales talent to your first 2 or 3 co-sell deals. You have to treat those initial deals with a hyperscaler like an audition.
Oh, that makes sense.
If an AWS rep brings you into a deal and your average rep fumbles it, you will likely never get a second swing with that AWS rep again.
So if a company commits the budget, bills the air cover, puts their best reps on the deals, and grinds out that 6 to 12-month timeline, what does the actual payoff look like? Is it worth all that operational friction?
The data suggests the upside is staggering. Chris Cruz shared stats regarding early engagement with AWS. When a software vendor and AWS engage together at the very start of a deal, rather than bringing the partner in at the final hour, they experience 40% faster sales cycles and 27% higher close rates.
Wait, I also saw he mentioned 80% larger deal sizes in those early engagement scenarios. 80% seems almost too high to be sustainable. Is that premium just because they're naturally targeting larger enterprise accounts when a hyperscaler is involved? Or does the co-sell motion actually expand the deal value that much?
It's a combination. Hyperscalers naturally operate in enterprise environments, but the deal size expands because you're suddenly solving a much larger architectural problem for the client rather than just selling a point solution.
Right.
And Eric Medges provided crucial context on how leaders achieve these numbers. The companies actually moving the needle aren't broadly expanding their partner base to anyone who will sign a paper. They are narrowing their focus deliberately.
Like quality over quantity.
Exactly. They prioritize high-fit partners with undeniable product synergy and operationalize that co-sell motion from day one. Medjetsi posed a great benchmark challenge. Can you defend your top 5 alliances with real revenue impact data in under 5 minutes? If not, your focus is too broad.
That leads us directly into Team 3. Marketplaces evolve into a primary channel route. Because once you nail that co-sell execution, it fundamentally shifts how the actual transaction takes place. We're seeing cloud marketplaces evolve from just being software catalogs into the primary transactional route to enterprise budget.
This is arguably the most significant mechanical shift in B2B purchasing right now. The mechanics of how enterprise software is bought are getting entirely rewritten. Roman Kirsanov provided a brilliant analysis of the newly launched Claude marketplace by Anthropic.
Okay.
We all know Anthropic is an AI powerhouse, but what they're doing here is turning pre-committed AI spend into a brand new distribution channel for third-party software.
Let's break down how that actually works for the listener. What exactly is a pre-committed budget in this context, and how does it reduce procurement friction?
Think about the cloud marketplace playbook from the last 10 years. AWS and Microsoft taught the market that if an enterprise commits to spending, say, $5 million on Azure infrastructure over 3 years, Microsoft will allow them to use a portion of that committed budget to buy third-party SaaS applications directly through the Azure marketplace.
Like a cybersecurity tool or a data platform.
Right. And the enterprise buyer loves this because they are burning down an existing budget commitment rather than going back and asking the CFO for a net new software budget.
And it bypasses the nightmare of vendor onboarding because the transaction happens on the Microsoft or AWS paper.
Exactly. Now, Anthropic is taking that exact same mechanic and applying it to AI commitments. If an enterprise has committed millions to Anthropic for AI usage, they can now spend that commitment on partner software, like GitLab or Snowflake, directly through the Claude marketplace. The route to budget has become just as critical as the route to market.
Which means a B2B marketer doesn't just need to convince the buyer that their software is good. They need to position their software as the best way to burn down the buyer's existing Anthropic or AWS commit. That's a totally different value proposition.
Completely different.
And it's not just the new AI players optimizing this. Look at what Salesforce is doing. Roman Pelzel and Alex Smith analyzed a massive overhaul happening within Salesforce's consulting partner program. They are actively dropping from 170 different partner distinctions down to just 28 core outcome-based competencies.
It's a massive pruning effort to highlight true specialization. Buyers are just exhausted by vendors claiming they can do everything. But Pelzel stressed a point regarding the App Exchange that connects directly back to the marketing team.
Right.
The Salesforce App Exchange receives 23 million annual views. It is a highly strategic go-to-market asset. Despite that volume, many partners still treat their App Exchange listing like a basic IT task to be delegated to a junior ops person.
They treat it like updating a LinkedIn company page, rather than managing a primary storefront.
And that is a critical mistake. Pelzel argues that an App Exchange listing needs the exact same strategic attention, messaging rigor, and positioning budget as your primary pitch deck. In an era where marketplaces algorithmically route buyers to solutions, the partners who invest in sharp, highly differentiated positioning are the ones who will actually surface to enterprise buyers.
But with all these complex mechanics navigating hyperscaler commits, optimizing app exchange algorithms, automated routing, it is so easy to forget who is actually signing the contract. Jessica Chivos brought a much-needed reality check to this entire marketplace conversation.
She really did. She reminded the industry that behind every complex, multi-layered cloud marketplace deal, B2B is still fundamentally H2H, human to human.
Her point was that a slick marketplace listing or a clever budget routing mechanic doesn't close a complex renewal on its own. It might remove procurement friction, but the best customer outcomes still rely on customer success managers, sales engineers, and marketing professionals obsessively focusing on the client's reality. Deals still get closed by real people navigating internal politics, dealing with screaming kids in the background of Zoom calls, and building genuine trust. Showing up with humanity still matters just as much as optimizing the GTM playbook.
That requirement for human connection is actually the perfect segue to our fourth and final theme. AI enters the partner sales and GTM stack. We're finally moving past the philosophical hype phase of artificial intelligence and seeing highly practical workflow-level applications within the partner ecosystem.
And navigating that transition sometimes requires admitting when our initial assumptions were just wrong. Greg Portnoy posted a very candid admission regarding AI and partnerships. A year ago, he believed AI was mostly a distraction for partnership leaders, just a shiny object taking focus away from relationship building. Now, he admits he was entirely wrong.
He changed his stance because the technology finally caught up to the operational bottlenecks. Portnoy pointed out that the average partner manager currently wastes roughly 50% of their time on manual busy work.
50%.
Yeah. They're manually entering deal registrations, calculating complex commission structures, and constantly updating overlap spreadsheets. He recognized that AI is now completely capable of automating those specific repetitive tasks.
Which theoretically frees up half of their week to actually do the human-to-human relationship building that Jessica Chivos was just talking about. But how does that automation actually look in practice for a sales rep? How do we get AI to do something useful without making the rep learn prompt engineering?
Will Taylor shared a beautifully simple, highly effective system for integrating AI into the daily sales motion. It starts with partner overlap data. He advises teams to use an account mapping tool like Crossbeam, which allows you to securely overlap your CRM data with a partner CRM so you see exactly which of your target prospects are already working with your partners.
Okay, so you know who the shared prospects are. What's the next step?
You layer that Crossbeam overlap data with your first-party CRM data, and then you use an AI tool to draft the initial outreach email. But the brilliance of Taylor's system is where this happens. The AI reviews the data, explains to the rep why the partner connection matters for this specific prospect, and drafts a context-rich opening email directly inside the rep's existing workflow.
So the rep doesn't have to open ChatGPT, copy and paste data from 3 different tabs, and write some 28-step prompt dissertation to get an email drafted.
Exactly. It operates right within the CRM or the sales engagement platform they already have open. It connects the dots that sellers simply do not have the time to connect manually across hundreds of accounts, and it naturally references a real partner that the prospect already trusts. It reduces the friction of co-selling down to a single click.
That sounds incredibly efficient, but it brings up a massive psychological hurdle. What does this mean for the B2B marketing and enablement teams trying to roll these tools out? If you buy this software, how do you ensure your people actually adopt it? Cameron Halsam closed out the conversation in calendar week 10 with a really profound human truth about AI adoption.
He stated very clearly that you simply cannot force AI adoption. You cannot mandate curiosity.
Right. If leadership just drops a new AI tool into the tech stack and says, use this to be more efficient, it usually backfires. Halcom noted that AI adoption only sticks when the tool has deep, undeniable relevance to the employee's actual daily pressure points. But more importantly, he highlighted the environmental factor.
Psychological safety.
Exactly.
Yes.
He noted that confidence with these new tools rarely grows in isolation. It requires a safe environment where it is completely normal and acceptable for a veteran sales rep or a senior marketer to raise their hand in a meeting and say, I tried to use this AI workflow, I don't understand how it works, and I am stuck. Can someone show me? You cannot mandate digital transformation, but you can intentionally build the culture where it is safe to experiment and fail.
Making the technology accessible, relevant, and safe to stumble with is the real work of GTM leadership right now.
We have covered a massive amount of strategic ground today, from dismantling traditional tiering systems and replacing them with influence models to understanding the 12-month grind of co-sell execution. We've looked at how AI commits are turning cloud marketplaces into new distribution channels, and how AI is finally integrating into the daily workflows of partner managers.
And honestly, it's just the beginning.
If you enjoyed this deep dive, new editions drop every 2 weeks. Also, check out our other editions on account-based marketing, field marketing, AI and B2B marketing, MarTech, go-to-market, and social selling. Thank you so much for investing your time with us today. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the insights you need to keep your GTM strategy ahead of the curve.
And before you jump into your next strategy meeting, I want to leave you with one final thought to explore on your own. As we watch these AI agents become increasingly autonomous and integrated into our daily workflows, ask yourself, 10 years from now, will the most powerful partner in your ecosystem be a traditional software company? Or will it be an AI agent autonomously orchestrating co-sell motions, identifying overlap, and routing enterprise budgets before a human ever even gets involved?